Hey, what's up everybody? David the Pro Solo Flipper here. Today I just wanted to make a video kind of talking about part-time versus full-time selling, reselling on eBay, whether or other platforms, Amazon, Mercari, Poshmark, whatever. Just going to kind of talk about the differences between part-time and full-time, or more likely talk exactly about why I made the decision to go from part-time to full-time. So why I decided I wanted to go full-time, and a little bit about the differences between the two, or what it's like being a full-time seller. And before I get started on that, I just kind of wanted to throw this out there and see if people are interested. I'm thinking about doing a live YouTube video, um, but I don't want to do it if people aren't interested in doing it, or if people won't show up and and to participate and ask questions and stuff like that. But I figured just try it once and see how it goes. If it went really well, I might consider doing it on a weekly basis, or every other week basis, or something like that, or at least more often. Just maybe kind of throw up a general topic, and then kind of talk about it, field questions on it, and then wherever it goes from there. I don't know how long it would be. I guess it'd be however long it needed to be. Maybe max out at maybe an hour at the most. But and that would just be if people were really participating and everybody was getting use out of it or having fun. But anyway, back to the topic. Part-time versus full-time. So for those of you who follow me, I've been part-time for a really long time. So I started selling on eBay. I can't tell you exactly when. It was about 98 or 99, somewhere in there. Things were a lot different back then. eBay was fairly new. Like eBay was really new. I don't really know what year they started, but it wasn't much before that. Back then, pretty much, it was so new that you could almost sell anything and somebody was looking for it, because it was a new thing. Like back then I sold a lot of video game stuff. They were easy to find, like Nintendo stuff, Nintendo controllers. I remember buying like a whole bin of them at the thrift store. I made an offer to the thrift store manager, and those things would just sell so good because everybody was looking for a replacement controller, because there really hadn't been a way to get one before eBay, honestly. So anyway, I've been selling for a long time part-time, just just for fun, just to make some money on the side. At time I really at some points in my life I had really needed the extra income to make ends meet when I wasn't earning very much at my job. Other times, more recently, I would say for the past 6 years or so, when I was working full time, it was just, well, for a little bit there, when I was a single income, it was helping me pay the bills. But as I started making more at my job, it really just became extra money, spending money to do things that, for fun, or to save or whatever. But anyway, so as I became more into it part time, I would say about 4 or 5 years ago. It's getting further and further out the more I talk about it, but 4 or 5 years ago, I kind of stepped it up a little bit just to start making some better extra money. And then at some point, I got really serious about it, and I really started bringing in some decent income. I started increasing my listings quite a bit. And this is a point where I think that this could be great. Maybe you're already doing this, or maybe you're just kind of dabbling in it. And if you're enjoying it at all, I really encourage you to increase your listings and just see what you can do, because it made a huge difference for me financially, even especially as a part time thing, right? So I was making a good income at my job, enough to pay all my bills, and go do whatever I wanted to do, pretty much. And so everything eBay was just extra money. And what I did with that was, some of it was just kind of play money, to buy whatever I wanted, or to go on vacation, or not necessarily vacation, but to go do, you know, entertainment type purposes or whatever. But not very much of it. And then the rest of it was, I would say about half of it I put back into eBay. So I would just buy more inventory, right? And that was how I was growing. eBay was just growing by itself. Like I would sell stuff, I would take about half that money and buy more inventory, half of the profits, right? And then the other half of the profits, I was starting to pay down debt. And it was, the longer I did it, the more accelerated it get. At the end there, and when I say end, I mean the end of part time, I was paying about $2,000 a month extra on my bills. And so you can imagine that doing that for any amount of time can really pay down your debt fast. So in that last year, in the last year before I went full time, I paid off 23,000, I think, in student loan debts, and that was just in 1 year. So that's pretty much sending $2,000 a month every month. So I mean, that's the kind of power that doing this or any other side hustle, I suppose. If you have a job that pays your bills and meets your needs financially, and then you do something else extra on the side, that money is powerful. It can do a lot of things. So I'm not here just to say you should go full time because honestly, if you really want to be successful financially, if I would have really wanted to be successful or rich financially, I would have stuck out doing this on a part-time basis for longer. As it is, when I quit my job, the only debt we had left was the house. Um, we have 3 cars; they're all paid off, and our credit cards are all paid off. I should say they were, and then uh, I grossly underestimated how much we would owe for taxes for the first year. Both my wife and I are both 1099 employee. She's a 1099 employee, so she doesn't have taxes taken out um, of her paycheck. She just gets, you know, her check, and then she has to pay taxes. It's the same as I do as a self-employed business owner. So we grossly underestimated how much we were going to have to pay, and so um, we at tax time we owed about 10,000 or something like that. So we had some of it, a little more than half of it had to go on a credit card. So we have since paid that off again, and so we're back down to only having a house payment. And now with all this quarantine going on, we're hoping that we can make it through without using most of our savings. So we do have some savings. We actually haven't had to tap into it yet. We're a month into the quarantine. Sales have been crazy on eBay, and it's only been a couple weeks since my wife's got her last paycheck, so we haven't had to use our savings at all yet. And I guess at some point we might get the stimulus check. I don't know. My wife has also filed for unemployment, but we haven't got any money as far as either of those are concerned. We haven't even got an answer yet on the unemployment, and we haven't seen any stimulus checks or anything yet. So, but we're still doing okay. I think in another month we're going to start. It'll be a little bit different. So we'll see how it goes. But back on topic here. So I think part time can be such a powerful tool financially. If you are doing this on any kind of a scale and you enjoy it, if you enjoy the process of, the hunt, the thrill of the hunt, finding the deals, shopping, I don't think you have to really enjoy listing. I don't think anybody really enjoys that part. I'm sure there are somebody out there that does, but for me, listing is the only part that's, not that much fun, but it's not that bad either, right? So, I mean, you can turn on the TV, you can listen to music, you can do whatever, to make it more enjoyable. You can list stuff that's more exciting to you. That makes a huge difference. So just a little pointer there is if you can find a way to be successful sourcing things that are more interesting to you, whatever that may be, that makes the listing process a lot more enjoyable. Sometimes I go thrifting and I'm excited to come home and get certain things listed. And then sometimes I buy a bulk buy and it might be old car parts or something, and I am not excited to get that stuff listed. And I kind of feel like it tends to be, at least for me, certain things are more interesting to me and certain things are going to do really well. And I'm excited to get those things listed. But like I said, if you enjoy this at all, I definitely encourage you to scale it a little bit if you can. And then as far as going full time goes, I mean maybe it takes a unique individual. I don't know. So I'm pretty introverted, and by that I don't really mean shy or afraid to talk to people or anything like that. I'm okay by myself, right? I can entertain myself very well. I don't have a strong need to be around other people, interact with people a lot. And so this business works really well for me. I'm fine all day by myself, doing my own thing, coming home, listing on my own, or whatever. recently my wife has started helping me a little bit since she is no longer working. At the time, she plans to go back to work when this all blows over. If you watch my other videos, you probably heard me mention, or if you follow me on Instagram, you've heard me mention that my wife has a compromised immune system, and so we made the decision for her to stop working for a while. And we're a little nervous about that for financially, but eBay is really stepping up. So I'm having a record month for April. March was pretty good. Record month for April. I keep waiting for it to kind of slow down, and it hasn't. So I'm just trying to list as much as I can. But that being said, she's been home. She hasn't been able to help as much as we really thought about it. The homeschooling is really taking quite a bit of time. So I would say she's probably helping me anywhere between 10 and 25 hours a week, depending on the week or how it goes. And that's not like it's just here and there kind of a thing, like when she has an hour or a half hour here or a couple hours here. And it has made a difference. It has made a difference, but I will say that it hasn't made a huge difference. But I have been able to keep up with the level of sales, and we're listing stuff that's been sitting for a long time that I've been avoiding because it takes longer to do. So we're listing a lot of electronics and stuff that have to be cleaned and tested, and pictures, and they take a long time to package, right. But because of that, we're having some pretty strong sales, because I'm finding that kind of stuff sells, well, first of all, for higher price, right, and second, it sells fast. Almost every electronic item, or I would say electronic and like household type stuff too, so, or like kitchen stuff. So I've been selling like a bread maker, or a juicer, or a latte machine. That stuff, almost all of it is sold. Like I've listed probably 20 things, and I'm down to like 3 or something. And some of them have been selling in the same day, and some of them have been selling within a week, or none of them have made it a month. I think I have 3 items that are still sitting there that have been listed a couple weeks, and I'm guessing they're going to sell fairly soon too. But anyway, she hasn't been able to help as much as we had thought, but I can see that we would work well together, especially if especially if the kids weren't home. And that wasn't being a stress. I was having a pretty, a somewhat difficult time with the homeschooling. It's been a struggle. It's been stressful, and so things haven't gone quite as we thought it might be. But she definitely has helped me keep my numbers up. The first week that she was here, we were doing homeschooling, and she pretty much helped me full time that 1 week. And we cranked out like 150 listings that week, which is really good. If we did that, we'd be listing about 600 a month, but it's slowed down. So I think that we're in the neighborhood of listing just over 100 each week, which I could potentially do by myself, but I don't think I could with this kind of stuff that we're listing, because I think it takes longer. So anyway, here's the reasons why I decided to go full time. So for me, it's just, I guess there's a few things that's coming. Like I've never really been at a job that I really enjoyed being there, that I look forward to going to. If you have that, don't take that for granted, right? Because not a lot of people have that. I think the majority of people really would prefer not to go to work on Monday morning. And certainly don't look forward to it. Like I didn't mind going to work. I had a good job. The people I worked with were good. I had a good job. It was a good paying job. I was a loan operations manager at a bank. But I wasn't excited about it. I don't really like managing people. So that wasn't my favorite thing. But other than that, it just didn't compare. I think I would still be there, and I'd be content if it wasn't for reselling. But what started to happen was I was growing my reselling, and then I started watching some YouTube videos and following people on Instagram, and starting to think that, and once I started seeing people talk about how much they were making as a full-time reseller, I started to think that maybe I could do this full-time. And honestly, I've been reselling for 20 years, and for 15 of those years, it never even occurred to me that I could do that on a full-time basis. I wish it would have, because there was a time when I wasn't making very much money. I was making maybe $14 an hour, and I felt like I was doing okay. I mean, this was, 15, 20 years ago, but, and I was in my 20s or whatever, but it would have been very easy, I think, to make that kind of money reselling and not have to go to a job that wasn't fun at all. I worked in a factory running machines. I worked graveyard shift, and I'd work 12-hour shifts just standing in front of a machine doing the same thing over and over for 12 hours. Not the greatest job, not the worst job either. I've had worse jobs than that, but I also worked in a potato, like, it was about 10 years ago I got divorced, and at the time I had a business in our home. I was helping my wife run an in-home daycare kind of a thing and helping her grow it. I had just graduated college, and when we got divorced, I had to go get a job. And I took the first job I could get that paid decent, and that happened to be at a potato processing plant, and that was the worst job I've ever had. So shoveling potatoes in a freezer warehouse that is like, I don't remember what it was, 25 degrees in there, and you're sitting there shoveling potatoes that have into a dumpster, basically. Physical cold work. It was not fun. Anyway, that was the worst job I ever had. And then somehow I managed to make it into the accounting department at that same place. And then that was one of the best jobs I've ever had. And then that plant shut down and moved, and that's when I went to the bank. But anyway, that's a little bit of history of me from my employment, I guess. But like I said, what I'm trying to say is I've had a lot of jobs, none that I've ever been excited to go to. Some that I didn't mind going to. The last couple of jobs, the accounting job and the bank job, didn't mind going. Good pay, good job, good environment. Had my own office, whatever. But especially during once I started increasing my sales and everything, I just wanted to be reselling all the time. That's what I was thinking about. Every morning on the way to work, I would stop at the post office to drop off packages. On my lunch break, I would go to thrift stores sometimes, or garage sales, and like on Fridays, where I live, garage sales are huge. And so I really feel bummed that I was missing out on garage sales, knowing that I could have made more money at going to garage sales than I did going to work that day. And it was just, and then when I get home, I was 2 or 3 hours a night, almost every night I would spend doing reselling. And then on the weekend, who knows how many hours, I would say 10 to 20 hours on the weekend, going to garage sales, going to thrift stores, listing stuff, packaging stuff. And it didn't seem like work to me. And so, like I said, I was following other people on YouTube and Instagram, realizing that they could do that at a full-time job, even as a one-person operation. And so that got me thinking maybe I could do it. And that is why I started aggressively growing my store to the point where I had enough money to pay off all my other debt and make it possible for me to make that jump. And so that's what I did. And now I'm full-time. I haven't been able to grow as fast as I thought I would when I'm full-time. I've mentioned that in videos before, and that's mostly because I don't think I realized how many hours I was putting in before. I was almost putting in full-time hours reselling in addition to my full-time job. And so when I went full-time reselling, I wasn't able to grow like I thought I was, because I was trying to limit myself to 40 hours. Anyway, now I'm doing better. I'm growing. And I'm pretty excited about the future. Sales are crazy right now during the quarantine. I think that I didn't know what to expect. I don't think anybody knew what to expect going into this situation. I really thought my sales were going to drop, and I was worried because my wife was going to be out of employment. She wasn't being employed, and she was going to be out of income too. But things have really, really taken off with eBay, and so they're really kind of covering us financially. And I think that this will slow down. But I think it's going to take a while. I think that this is going to be the new level of sales for a little bit. As people start returning back to normal, I think it'll gradually trickle down. But honestly, I think it's only going to trickle down back to normal levels maybe by fourth quarter, and then fourth quarter is going to be back up again. So I think that the rest of this year is going to be really good. So I'm pretty excited about that. But as for full time, I would say that if you love doing this on the side, if you're doing this on the side in addition to a full-time job or even a part-time job or whatever, if you just really don't mind doing this, or if you even really enjoy doing it, you should probably consider this as a full-time thing. I never thought I would be one of those people that really enjoyed what they're doing. I always thought that was kind of something people said, but it didn't really exist, right? People don't really love what they do. That's why it's called work. That's why they get paid to do it, because it's not something they enjoy. But I really enjoy this, and it's not just about what I'm doing, but it is about the lifestyle. So I do what I want when I want. And it's not too hard for me to keep myself motivated to keep doing this because I do enjoy it. I don't wake up to an alarm ever. Ever. I haven't woke up to an alarm in years, and so I just, I'm on my own schedule. I mean, I try to keep a similar schedule to my wife because I just, I don't want it to be like I'm up till 4 in the morning and then I sleep till 2 or something. But if I'm tired at 7 o'clock in the morning, I don't get up. If I'm awake at 6 o'clock in the morning, I get up. I do what I want to do. So, anyway, if like I'm saying, this video is going to get a little bit long, but I could talk all day about reselling. But if you love it, if you really enjoy it, consider just stepping it up and see what happens. I think that it's probably more common that people follow other YouTube people on Instagram about reselling than it was when I started doing it. So maybe you already know, but I'm just here to tell you that if you do enjoy this is a possibility to do full time. Depending, I guess, on what your income requirements are. I'm here in Idaho, so I know it's a lot easier to do it here in Idaho than it would be to do somewhere like California or something like that. Props to those who are doing this in California and trying to make $100,000 a year on their own. $100,000 a year is possible, but I think it's possible. I'm not making $100,000 a year. I know it's possible, but you got to really kind of be an overachiever, I think, to get it done, or just be smart about it. I guess there's different ways of doing it. Maybe I'm probably not the smartest reseller out there, but I'm doing pretty good. I'm making, at this point, I'm making as much as I was making at the bank as a loan operations manager, with a 4-year, finance degree or whatever. So anyway, if you have any questions or comments, or if there's something else you want me to make a video about, just leave it in the comments below. I'll definitely read all the comments that come in. If you want to contact me at the same account, Pro Solar Flipper on Instagram, you can message me there. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in a live YouTube video. I've definitely been thinking about doing that. Even the possibility of doing a regular one. I don't really want to set myself up to having to commit to something at a certain time every week, but I might consider doing that, especially if people are really enjoying it and getting use out of it, and it seems to be going well. So anyway, thanks for your time, guys. Hopefully this was helpful to kind of think about part-time versus full-time. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments, just leave them below. Subscribe if you can. Hit the bell notification, and you'll get notified when I put up a new video. That'll help me out. Thanks, guys.